And bellying up to the 9-foot homemade oak bar. My name is Craig Toth, your host of Minor League News and Brews, talking about everything around the Pirates minor league system and giving you some beer reviews at the end of the show. Bringing back a guest, a friend. I actually got to meet him in person down when I was the spring breakout game, and when I started talking to him, he goes, "Man, your voice matches what comes into my headphones," and we laughed about it, and it was awesome. I'm talking about my friend Eric Garfield at Eric Birdland. You got to follow him, Florida Prospect Report, on Twitter. Go to his Instagram. There's videos of everything that's going on down in Bradenton. Yes, he's a Birdland. Yeah, he's mostly an O's guy, but guess what? He's also a Pirates guy as well. Eric, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great. Thank you for the wonderful introduction, and thank you for the keychain when we met in person. I guess we are friends. We are boys now, so let's talk about what's going on in Bradenton and some kind of exciting Pirates minor league stuff.
Yeah, and absolutely, man. We were talking before we jumped on here. A lot of people kind of maybe don't even really understand what's going on down in Bradenton right now, down in Sarasota. I mean, the extended spring training. Can you explain to everybody just shortly, like what the extended spring training kind of works out to be?
It's a schedule of games between the end of Major League and minor league spring training and before the rookie league season, which starts this upcoming weekend. And they're games with an umpire. They're played in uniforms, and they're on real fields. But the main outcome is to have data on minor league players and veteran or injured players get game reps against other opponents on other teams so they can do something other than scrimmaging at their complexes. So it's really, they're real games, and they are structured, but they're not, there are 4-out innings, there's 5-out innings. Sometimes they play 11 innings. Sometimes they play the home team as the road team. So it's officially unofficial games between the end of spring training and FCL.
Yeah, and so like in some of the videos that you posted, players that, I mean, I keep my eyes on everybody, but got a lot of good video on Xander Meath. I don't know how to pronounce it yet. I'm pretty sure most people up here in Pittsburgh are going to call it Muth because we have a tight end named Fryermuth. So, but got some video on him. We had a Domingo Herman sighting. So who are some of the guys that really impressed you during the extended spring training?
For the Pirates, I would say, honestly, the outfield prospect, Estuar Suero, acquired from San Diego in the Rich Hill trade, a long, lean, limby type of player. He's a lefty outfielder, kind of like a long strider, a long glider. He's been making solid contact, all types of pitches. He's got a really aesthetically pleasing swing, but he can bend, he can reach and extend his arms. An absolutely great, like, lottery ticket type trade acquisition that's really starting to develop. He's a player that I've always thought, man, I wish there were more eyes on him. I wish more people could see the way he moves. So he's one of them. And then another guy that's been in the Pirate system for a couple seasons, a left-handed hitting, I guess corner we can call him, is Yuri Espinal. He's been making a consistent contact and very, very loud. He had a game last week at Pirate City where he's a lefty, he hits lefty, so he hit the wall in right field twice, and the second video I got, made a clang, and he's a big guy. He got 3 bases out of that, so both of those guys, Suero and Espinal, are really in, good offensive phases right now, ready to hit the FCL schedule, kind of rolling.
That's really good things to hear. And before we jumped on here, you were talking about let's go on the pitching side of things, and who I mentioned, Meath. Talk about his workload, his pitching. how he looks on the mound right now.
Okay, well, I'll give credit to the Pirates lower minor staff because when I first saw him, like the first part of minor league spring training, I showed videos to a couple of my friends who work in baseball and work in video, and I was just like, man, this guy looks good. When the ball comes out, it's really solid. His extension is beautiful, but the delivery, the lack of consistency or cleanliness or fluidity in the bringing the hands together and all that stuff, it's just not the same every time. 3 weeks later, in a different type of game, he was getting every batter out. And when I watched the video afterwards, his delivery was extremely consistent. So that's not a major accomplishment, but it's something being done in the way of progress for a pitcher that already has really good stuff. I watched it with the second appearance with a prospect, an Orioles prospect's father, and we were just marveling at how well Muth had one pitch, I guess we can call it a slider, that it starts out away from righties and it breaks to the other side of the plate, and he just kept throwing it with two strikes. And at this level, no hitter adjusted. So I think that day we watched 6 or 7 strikeouts, including his son, and the dad was just like, we're going to have to figure out a way to touch that pitch.
That's good stuff. And
yeah,
also,
he's impressive. He's really impressive. Very, very mature type of stuff and arsenal for a high school arm.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, there's a number of people, a Michael Kennedy, Owen Kellington, who, unfortunately has made his way to the 60 day, but it feels like the Pirates, obviously with a Jared Jones, Bubba Chandler, they've been able to identify and develop some, pretty good high school arms.
I do think that they're in a good pattern that way, and I don't want to say that Meath or Muth is the best of them, but those are some very good names, development-wise, that you named, and he most certainly fits with them, I can tell already. I don't believe, it's hard to estimate if he's going to be down here or on the FCL team all year. Just remember, he was in high school, and as much as his stuff is good and his arsenal is very solid, the ball moves, they want his body in shape, and maybe they see like him being on a better workout schedule if he's in the FCL and they can monitor him that way. So, who's to say? But his stuff is really quite mature, and hopefully there will be more videos so everybody can see it.
Speaking of being in shape, is Domingo Herman in shape? Because there's been some like rumblings up here that there's a possibility that the Pirates are hiding him down there, and he's not like at a full workload or whatever it would be. Is Domingo Herman in shape right now?
Well, that's actually a great transition and a great question, Craig. I'll give you credit. I've seen him pitch one time, and it was multiple innings. And his last inning, his metrics, sometimes you can see the computer or you can ask the people after the game, or, I know some of the people. His metrics were better his last inning. I think it was, if it wasn't 5, it was 4. So his fourth inning was better. He was throwing harder than his first inning. And it's Florida. We're already into the high 80s and the 90s. This was a day game. He most certainly was covered in sweat. So, this is a guy that's gotten decent results. He's pitched perfect games. So, it's not. He's got some skill and some talent, and once he gets his feet under him and gets back into a regular pattern of usage, I think he's going to be just fine. So to answer your question of being in shape, through one appearance, I would give a thumbs up to that.
Okay, that sounds good. And before we hopped on here, we were kind of talking about like the feel of the extended spring training, the feel around, like the Pirates organization down there and different stuff. Does this feel the same as it has in previous years? Is there any new observations that you may have made? Or, is it just kind of like, I wouldn't say status quo, but does it feel any different this year?
Craig, again, that is a great question because I would say evaluating the rosters on paper, not wholly pitching, but again, this is not a league where pitching is really that important or that much of a determinant between who's good and who's not. The Pirates' offensive roster and position player roster is absolutely outstanding for the FCL level. I mean, you got a great guy that you acquired in trade a couple days ago, Canner Delgado, my friend that used to work for the Yankees and is still a huge Yankees fan, told me many times this is the best combination of infield hands and contact skills the Yankees have had in their system in 15 years. So,
Which is kind of a crazy thing because we were sitting there yesterday just kind of setting this whole thing up and everything, and you just kind of said, Craig, when did you get Kiner Delgado? And I had been talking to you, and I was just like,
I didn't even know that.
and
Right? People just started writing to me like, you better talk about him. And I'm just like, why? He's on the Yankees.
yeah, and it's crazy because I mean, a lot of people are saying that player to be named later, for the JT Brubaker trade. I mean, we don't know what JT is going to be this year. He does have one more year of arbitration, but there were some like rumblings that this could be like getting a legit prospect back. Now, of course,
He most certainly did.
yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy who's top 20 prospect in the New York Yankees system, was part of the 2023 FCL, like they name it, the All-Star team afterwards, and was just kind of a force to be reckoned with within the complex league last year.
And ranking the Yankees prospects, you always have to look at that from an objective perspective. They're not always accurate for a variety of reasons. And contact and infield defense are not flashy Yankees top prospect type skills, but if you've got them, you will advance through the minors very, very quickly. And actually, I was talking with some of the Pirates players last night before the Marauders game. They were all very, very excited. They were wondering, is this guy, is he going to just skip his second half of the FCL and join the Marauders right now, or will he be in the rookie leagues? And I'm pretty sure he's just going to transfer over to the rookie leagues. But that makes that infield group, including Kelvin Diaz and Johnny Severino, John Zarilla, Yordani De Los Santos. This is a very, very advanced infield group for a rookie league team. And then we got Tony Blanco in the outfield and Eduardo Oviedo in the outfield. So, and Suero in the outfield. This is already a really, really solid FCL offense. I expect the games against the Orioles to last many hours and involve many, many bullpen pitchers.
And the funny thing is, and that's why people need to be following you. I'll plug you again here in the middle of the show. Is just that, I mean, there's not really any other places for when we want to see that type of stuff. I mean, guys that are prospect junkies like myself, or you just kind of want to see a player that has been either on another team and then they get called over, or, guys that are just arriving from the DSL. We saw the, transaction tracker. I think it was Anthony Murphy. Anybody doesn't follow Murph, you got to follow him as well. It's at _, double H at the end, Murphy in the middle, Anthony Murphy on top of all of those things. So you can get Anthony for and you can even get you for the Marauders as well. But I mean, him with Greensboro, Altoona, and Indianapolis, and a little bit of the Marauders, and you with the Marauders and the FCL, and it kind of makes a pretty good company to be in.
Yeah, and Murph is an awesome person. He'll actually be down here for the next Marauders series. They play St. Lucie, surprisingly, off to a good start. A lot of guys playing well. But he'll watch some of that and some of the rookie league games with me. I've interacted with him for years. I agree with everything you say. There's not a trillion people on social media that I learn from, and he's definitely one of those. So it's kind of like an information sharing network. But fans and especially Pirate prospect fans can get a lot of coverage and a lot of insights from what we provide them. So he's got a good crew, and I'm kind of like happy to be on it or on the outside of it or whatever, just providing footage. But it's like last year when you guys traded for Severino, like the first day that I got there and he was in uniform, I was just like, oh man, this is so exciting, a new guy. So Pirates are they're kind of like winning lower minors trades and acquiring good talent internationally. So it's always a kind of like unique group to watch, and there's always someone that's somewhat exciting. Like I said to you before, a couple years ago it was Esmeralyn Valdez, Javi Rivas, and Jesus Castillo, Shaylin Polanco. Those were the ones with like the loud skills, and it took a little while, but now they're on an affiliate showing their profiles and even still improving. They were kids then, and now they're actual like legit baseball players.
And it's so cool that you get to be a part of that and get to see them grow, and that you're, like I said, putting out those videos for us to see. But I'm gonna put you on the spot here, and I know this is probably gonna be two tough questions to answer. The first one is what two position players are you looking forward to on the Pirates FCL roster? Who are you looking forward to seeing the most this year? Two guys.
I'm gonna say Axial Plaz, the catcher, and Yordani De Los Santos, the infielder. In my mind, I'm biased towards both of them. I've been watching them and interacting with them for a long time, so I kind of feel they should be Marauders, or there's a case to be made for them to be Marauders right now. But I understand what they still need to do in the FCL, and I expect while they do the improving part of their game, they're going to be having lots of counting stats, lots of positive results, and lots of execution. Jordani's a beautiful shortstop to watch between second and third. He's got to tighten up his game, but man, he can really move, and he's not a third baseman or a second baseman. And Plaza's the same thing. His catching fundamentals are there. They're present. He can block, he can throw, and he can move in the crouch. He's gotta get stronger. And he's an exercise like weight room type of guy. So it's not a difficult endeavor. He's working out every day, but his throws down to second need a little more steam. It's stuff like that. So it will be very exciting to watch those two guys improve. I'm extremely confident they will.
Yeah, and Plaz is a guy that they actually, I mean, they moved him up to the FCL a lot sooner than, I mean, not that the previous regime wouldn't have done that, but it was a very somewhat aggressive
Yeah,
placement, but believing
he
that
is
he
class
could
by
catch
a
up.
year. Yeah, right, exactly. And I guess, back then it was hard to tell. It was actually impossible to tell that he'd like be mature ahead of his class. But that's, years into the experiment, that's exactly what's happening. Yesterday, the new class, the new Pirates prospects that are here from the DSL, he introduced me to all of them like as a group. It was like they were campers and he was the counselor. So yeah, it's really cool. He's like a leader type of guy when everything is going right, when he's on his game, when he's getting his at bats, and when he's successful in his at bats. He's the kind of guy that can really like unify a group, and the comp that he has for that is like the best Bradenton name of recent vintage, Andy Rodriguez, like the ultimate Bradenton unifier, somebody that could run for mayor right now. Every single person in town would still vote for him. So, like, that's the kind of guy that Plaz is becoming. Now his game just needs to follow up and be as crisp and as high level as his personality and his maturity is. So he's getting there. But by the end of the FCL season, he will be there, and I'll be lucky enough to have watched it.
Yeah, and with Giordani, I mean, it's seeing that he probably could be in Bradenton, but like you're saying, there is some stuff for him to work on. His, some of the power that he has is unbelievable at times, but he's also a very exciting prospect.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I know I'm so biased, but I really love the way he plays. I love his swing. When you watch it, like bit by bit, I love his swing path. He can hit. He doesn't have to change much to catch up or slow down for like all speed and change up type stuff. He's just a naturally gifted player. From what I'm watching, and I really only post the plays that these guys make, there's been games where he has more than a handful of errors, and some of them are just on routine type plays. It's pacing, it's game speed, and the more that I think, man, this guy should be at low A, these are the reasons that he's not. So again, this is by the end of the FCL season. I guess it'll be June when he used to start in June. By June, he'll be truly as ready for that call up and to never come back down again. So watching him like finalize his early development, it's going to be exciting. He's definitely a star type of player in every way, worth the hefty international investment.
So let's switch to the pitching side. Who are a couple pitchers that you may not have mentioned yet that you are excited to see develop this year?
There's one guy that I was told about beforehand by another prospect who's not here yet, and I hadn't seen him, and I really hadn't thought about him. This conversation was months ago, and I was just like, man, the first four letters of his name are P-I-T-T. There's a pitcher, his name is Peterson Rosa, but he spells it P-I-T-T-E-R-S-O-N. So he pitched yesterday. He started yesterday, and after, I want to say he walked his second inning, he was facing three high minors rehab guys, all with a lot of experience, one from college, and he walked them all. Only one scored, and that was the only run he let in. But it seems like he kind of starts with a changeup and pitches backwards type of guy. And once he was hitting his spots, with a big credit due to Plaz, once this guy, Peterson Rosa, was hitting his spots, his innings were very quick and very efficient. So I guess him, and I really don't know that many other pitchers. I can't make it up. He was the one name I was told about. So really him. And he asked me again in 3 weeks, and there will be some of them that I actually know. But for right now, I'm just kind of like open to being in learning mode.
Well, all that means, Eric, is that I'll have to have you on again in like 3 weeks because that sounds like a good time. Because every single time we sit down here, everybody knows this is like 30 minutes of Bucks, and it turns into it could be 2.5 hours of Bucks. But for anybody that doesn't, please go follow Eric Garfield, Eric Birdland. I believe it's Eric underscore Birdland 22 on Instagram. That's where a lot of your videos are at.
Oh, you're a fan.
I got it down, brother. I'm always on there. I told you when my wife's like, she doesn't even have to ask me, but I'm looking at it on my phone. I'm watching videos. I'm looking at stats. I'm texting people about, pirate stuff and what's going on. But like I said, for anybody that doesn't, please go follow Eric. Follow his stuff. Give him some support because he is boots on the ground in Bradenton. And brother, can't wait to do this again.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good idea. I'll definitely have like extensive files on everybody. And thank you so much for that. Right, for the heavy prospect fans, right before I roll, I just want to name the three guys that I was told, the newer guys that will probably excel and separate themselves offensively. That is Infielder Carlos Caro, Caro, if you want to start looking some of these guys up. Then there was another guy, Roini, Roinny, Aguiar. So Aguiar and Caro, and cornerman, a Mexican cornerman, Tirado, Tirado is his last name. So from what I was told, that's going to be like the nucleus of the next successful core of Pirates prospects from the DSL to FCL this year.
All right, prospect junkies, you've got your homework until the next time Eric comes back on.
Thank you for Professor Craig.
Are you a fan of the Pittsburgh Pirates and supporting small businesses? If so, Bucks in the Basement has you covered. Introducing the Bucks in the Basement Vouch Store with products from places like Split Rock Coffee. Coffee with a purpose. Established, owned, and operated by disabled veterans sworn to protect America. Or Camp Craft Cocktails. More than cocktails. It's a mission to build longer tables where everyone is welcome. We try and vouch for these products. Bucks in the Basement, proudly brought to you by Vouch. Visit our Vouch store at bucksinthebasement.com or simply click on the link in the show notes. It's that time in the show for the top 5 Pirates prospect performers in no particular order. Number 1, Charles McAdoo, the 13th round draft pick out of San Jose State just last year, given the $150,000 signing bonus, overshadowing and outshining Mitch Jebb in Bradenton and once again in Greensboro this year. Jebb, the guy out of Michigan State, given the $1.65 million signing bonus. In 2023, across 114 plate appearances, McAdoo slashed .302, .412, .510 with 5 home runs, 22 strikeouts to 17 walks. Jebb didn't do too shabby down in Bradenton last year. .297, .382, .398 slash line, 1 home run, 17 walks, and only 11 Ks. This year, so far in Greensboro, Charles McAdoo, across 87 plate appearances, slashing .280, .368, .507, with 4 home runs, 18 Ks to 9 walks. Mitch Jebb, a slash line of .238, .304, .369, 3 home runs. The big thing here, though, is that he has 31 strikeouts to only 8 walks. Down in Bradenton, Garrett Forrester, the 3rd round draft pick out of Oregon State last year, given the $772,500 signing bonus. Since April 18th, he is slashing .417, .533, .611, good for a .234 WRC plus, a home run, 4 doubles, 7 strikeouts, 6 base on balls, bringing his yearly slash line to .261, .407, .377. Would like to see a little bit more power from the guy who, for Some unknown reason, I'm going to have to look into this even more, has been starting to catch, didn't catch it all at Oregon State. Very strange type of thing here, is throwing out uh, would-be base stealers at about a 24% clip. But just a little bit of a weird development down there in Bradenton. Also in Bradenton, Hung Lang Chang, the 22-year-old Taiwanese hurler, he was signed in January of 2022 for $500,000, has a really good pitch mix. His fastball, which is known to top out at about 94 miles per hour, a cutter that sits in around the mid 80s, a curveball in the upper 70s, a changeup in the low 80s. Looked on StatCast at his last start. Also has a slider that he is working in there. Only pitched 16.1 innings so far this year. 15 Ks, 7 walks, a little bit of some control issues, kind of honing in all of those pitches. Has not given up a home run during that time so far. Good for a 1.224 whip. Would like to see that a little bit lower. And now we get into what would be the guys from Indianapolis, the ones that people are talking about. When are they going to be called up? I'm recording this portion of the episode at 11:38 on Friday. So it is possible by the time you listen to this, this guy could be called up. Nick Gonzalez now at 114 plate appearances, slashing 373, 430, 598, good for a 1.028 OPS, 3 home runs, a double machine with 12 doubles, 20 Ks, 8 base on balls. The talk is still about his chase rate, as well as his ability to hit the off-speed pitches. Don't know what else he can really do down in AAA to kind of prove what's going on. The offense struggling in Pittsburgh, maybe at least to be a little bit of that spark plug. And of course, Paul Skeens announced and confirmed. I did see that Jonathan Mayo from MLB.com, MLB Pipeline, has confirmed he will be pitching in Indianapolis on Sunday. His last outing, 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 base on ball, 7 Ks, 75 pitches. But it would be, you have to note that he is starting for the first time on 4 days rest on that regular schedule, the 5-man rotation. Gonna have to see how that goes. Obviously something we're gonna be talking about on the regularly scheduled episode of Bucks in the Basement that come out every Wednesday, and on Minor League News and Brews until he does make his first start, which will be at PNC.
A pitcher of beer, a pitcher of beer, let's order another pitcher of beer. That pitcher of beer should come over here. I love that pitcher of beer.
Thanks to Easter, thanks to making a trip over to see some of my favorite people at one of my favorite beer distributors, Creekside Beer, as well as the brother-in-laws, the Bros baseball weekend. I am all stocked up on beer reviews that will cover me till the end of this month. These ones I got over at Creekside Beer. The first one, Hitchhiker Brewing Company, the 1-to-1 IPA, coming in at 7%. Give this one a 375, knock it down to 350. The Abjuration Brew Company IPA version 9.0, the Pink Boots Brew. This is something that I'm gonna be talking about a little bit more once I get more information on future episodes. It's the certain types of hops that are given to the female brewers, at least in the Pittsburgh area that I know of, and I believe other places as well. Give this one a 425, knock it down to 400. The Sweetwater Brewing Company Gummies Tropical Double IPA coming in at 9.5%. I give this one a 350. Gonna knock that up to 400. The double IPAs, I'm kind of scoring the reverse as a normal IPA, or of course my hazy IPAs. The weighted, based on batting averages, the weighted boba is getting the bump there, 350 to 400. And the Dancing Gnome Galaxy Jam IPA coming in at 6.8%. Give that one a 400, only docking it a little bit because it's a higher IPA, bringing that down to 375. But until next time, guys, let's go Indians, let's go Curve, let's go Hoppers, let's go Bradenton Marauders, and for the first time this season, let's go FCL Pirates.